day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hey, and thank you for joining me. I'm Tammy Tubbs, your host of the Tammy Tubbs Show, and we're talking about love, marriage, and all those great things and the entities, but we don't want to lose sight of God and what He's doing even in this season. You have to love the unlovable and love beyond measure. And my guest on today, her testimony, honey, I'm telling you, is going to blow your wig off, knock your shoes off, make you scratch your head, make you say, what? Wait a minute. But at the end, that rainbow, when it decides to come out, it's going to bring tears to your eyes. My guest on today is all the way from Jackson, Mississippi. Miss Tiana Miles is joining here on set, and I'm just excited that you took the journey. So I got to touch you, because when I read your testimony and then I saw your post on social media, I said, I have to find a way to get to her. And God delivered you right here to me today. Oh my goodness. Where do we even start with your testimony? So I want you just to take a moment to just relax, relate, and release. You know, this is a safe zone. But I want women, more importantly, to be empowered and encouraged beyond where they are right now, to not settle. Right. Amen. Right. Amen. Yes, so were you dating? Were you married? How does this process begin?
Well, my husband and I, we will be married 5 years in December.
Praise God.
This December. We started off dating, and, the dating process was, okay, and honestly, I didn't think that he would be my husband.
Why did you not?
I had just gotten out of another relationship, and I was like, I just want to focus on myself, and, I had no kids, and I was just like, okay, I want to go do this and do that,
Enjoy life.
Enjoy life, and he came, and it wasn't supposed to, we weren't supposed to like each other, to me,
Yeah.
And so, it happened. He was so charming, and, he was one of those guys like, is this true?
Yeah.
Kind of guy,
Knew what to say, what to do,
Exactly.
make you feel special,
Exactly.
loved,
Yes, that was him. And so he and I, we became good friends. We talked about everything under the sun. I'm sure he doesn't mind me sharing, but he was a foster child, and so he, told me a lot of his experiences going from group home to group home, things like that. I have a heart for people, and I'm like, oh man, and for you to come out how you are.
Yeah.
So I felt like he was something special,
Right.
And I always saw something in him, but I don't think he had seen it at the moment, but I had always seen something in him.
You could see.
I can see it, yes. So we just connected and we started dating, and then we moved to Jackson. He was working somewhere, I was working somewhere, and my brother was our mutual friend. He's a minister, and so he kept us saved.
Yeah.
Amen. So amen.
Everybody needs an accountability partner.
Yes.
Somebody that can be like, hold up, wait a minute. No, you don't need to do that.
Exactly.
What's your brother's name?
Norman
Thank God
Collins.
for Norman. Norman, we thank you. Hallelujah. Thank you, Norman.
Yes. So he was definitely an accountability partner. And then, I was praying. I was like, God, I feel like he's it, but I don't want to move unless it's you, And so we fasted. We fasted for a while, and we was reading every day, we was praying, and I was like, God, I was one of those people like, I need to know this is you.
Yeah.
And I believe that you're a God who can show me,
Right.
and you're a God who can send signs when I ask for them.
Absolutely.
I don't limit you to no burning bush.
Yeah.
I feel like you can do it, like personally,
Right.
So I pray, I was like, God, if you just give me 3.
Oh, so you're the person, you need the 3 signs.
Oh, yes.
Jesus, okay.
I need 3 signs.
Yes.
And so we were in church, and the pastor was like, if God's telling you this and this, whatever, go for it. And I'm like, and one of my friends, she was like, I was like, yeah, he's not talking to me. Yeah. But I felt it, So the second time around, said it again. The third time I was at another service, and it happened again. I was like, okay. And then a deaconess and her husband was like, you two, y'all should get married. Like, just the love, like I see love on you all, and I was like, okay, God, I hear you. I hear you talking,
Yeah.
And so my then boyfriend, he was like, maybe I should pursue this. So he proposed. I told him not to, because I'm not a person that like attention, and so whatever. So he proposed, and we got married like 2 months later.
Wow.
3 months later. I'm sorry.
So how long did you all date before you got married?
We actually dated a year and a half.
Year and a half of dating,
Yes.
and then 2 months after, basically,
Proposed.
you didn't propose. Okay.
And we got married.
Okay.
We got married. And, everyone's on the honeymoon phase for the first few months.
Everything is golden.
Yes.
Okay. You in
Golden.
love?
Yes. We're in love and all that. And, you know, we moved back to my hometown, which is Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Okay.
So we moved to my hometown and found a place to stay, and I started working at another place or whatever, and you know, things started being okay, but then after a while, I was gone from home a lot because of my job, and you know, I didn't know that he was feeling alone.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he was feeling like I wasn't paying him attention.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't know because he never said it, and
Yeah.
he never has, you know, shown any
You
signs.
too busy working.
Yeah, I was. I love my job because I love music, so I
Yeah.
loved my job at the time, and you know, I guess I missed it.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, he decides that he wants somebody to give him attention.
Wow.
You know, so, you know, he reached out to a lady and they conversed a little bit or whatever. And then I found out, when I found out, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, because I didn't think it could happen to me.
Why not? What was going on in your mind?
Oh, man. Because I felt like I was too good.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I'm a praying woman.
Yeah.
I'm saved. I'm
Yeah.
a Christian. I don't believe in the whole infidelity. I'm very monogamous. Like since I was little, my mom and dad raised us on word. My dad
Right.
was a pastor, my mom first, like, you know, raised us on word. And they're currently divorced.
Right.
So, you know, I thought like, I don't want that. I don't want that.
Yeah.
Because no little girl just grows up saying, hey, I want to get married and then divorce.
Right.
You know,
That's
everybody
not
wants
your dream.
Yeah, no, that's
Absolutely.
definitely not the dream. And so I thought it couldn't happen to me. And the truth is, no matter how good you are, you can ever stop somebody from making a decision.
Right.
You know.
Right. So
So that happened and it tore me apart.
how did it affect you?
Oh man. I didn't want to wear certain clothing anymore.
Wow.
I felt unattractive. I felt like he would rather have her body than mine.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I wasn't beautiful. I felt like the things he said on our wedding day didn't matter. It
Yeah.
didn't mean anything. I feel like he was with me for comfortability,
Yeah.
for security,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't feel like, you know, it was love.
Yeah.
You know, and so it wouldn't be any kind of affection, you know, anything like that. Like I withdrew all of that.
Wow.
And I just got into a box like, okay, I'm married, I know that, but you over here, I'm over here.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it was.
Living in the same house,
roommates.
roommates.
We were definitely roommates.
Wow.
Definitely roommates. And then I became pregnant. I found out I was pregnant. Actually, right before that, I found out I was pregnant. And
Did that make it better or worse?
definitely worse. Because I'm
Jesus.
thinking like, I don't want to be a single mom. I don't want to, all that. So a million things came through my head. And I
Yeah.
just was like, this can't be real.
Yeah.
You know.
Because you didn't plan this.
I didn't.
At all.
I
It's
didn't
like
plan it.
my golden boy, what happened to my Prince
Yes.
Charming?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was my thing. What happened? You
Yeah.
know? And so that when it went by, and I'm very forgiving. I wasn't at this place, you know, before, but I hadn't
Yeah.
gotten to a really forgiving place with him.
Mm-hmm.
So I forgave him. I said, okay, so let's just move forward, you know. So we moved forward, whatever, and, you know, I thought we were okay. You know, we were vibing again or whatever. I was still dealing with a little hurt, you
Yeah.
know. Healing takes time.
So what did you do to self-medicate yourself? Because like you say, it tore you to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
You were shocked, you know, that this happened. But I'm going to forgive you. But what were you doing during that process?
Honestly, I suppressed it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't deal with it. You know, I compartmentalized it. I just put it back in my mind. I was like, if I can get through this day, I'm okay.
Yeah.
The next day came, if I get through this day, I'm okay. You know, it was like that for like the next few months or whatever.
Yeah.
So I really didn't deal with it.
Was he doing anything to win your trust? Trying to help you
yes.
heal through the process?
Yes,
Okay.
he was. He was, you know, let me know where he was. He would, you know, validate me. He'd tell me how beautiful I am and things like that. And I was like, okay, maybe this is you again.
Yeah.
You know? And so time went on, and then I heard a rumor about a child
Oh, Jesus.
he had. And my first mind is, well, I first called him after it was brought to me. I called him. I was like, did you hear about this? He was like, oh, no, that's not real. That's not true, you know?
Did you believe it?
I believed him, but my gut didn't.
There's always something about that woman's intuition.
It didn't.
Yeah.
But I did because I just had a baby. My baby was in LeBron Hospital. He was in the NICU for a while.
Wow.
And, you know, I wasn't ready. My baby wasn't home. You know, I'm back and forth between Memphis and Clarksdale. And I just wasn't ready to deal with
Your
that. So I
emotions were everywhere.
Yes. So I just put it to the back of my head again, you know. And so
Wow.
I actually approached her and I asked her.
You went to the female.
I had to, yes. Yes, because I'm not a person that really does the he say, she say type of thing, because it's just too much confusion.
Right.
So why not go to the source?
Directly to the source.
Yes, and of course, I'm very classy with stuff like this. I just asked her, hey, this is what I heard, if this is what it is, could you guys get a blood test for me? Just do it for me so I can know,
Right.
whatever, because if this is my husband's child, he needs to be there. He needs to be involved, because I won't want the father of my kids not involved,
Right.
This is a mistake. God forgives, I can forgive. That's exactly what I told her.
Such a Christian.
Yeah.
and that's the beauty of it, doing the right thing, even though you're hurting, you're bleeding, but you just wanted to make sure that, hey, let's do the right thing by this child. If it is, let's do the right, because he's still your husband at this time.
He is. So when it finally came out, he came out and told me, I feel like I prayed about it first, and I had a really good experience with God at this event called Extend the Room Experience in Jackson.
Wow.
And I had a really good experience with God.
Stop right there, because I want you to elaborate a little bit more on that one. Okay. Oh, wow. Just that part. The experience. When you encounter God, your life will never be the same. And I'm sure listening to her testimony, you can tell that there's a lot of Jesus, a Holy Ghost inside of her to be able to love, forgive, and the child that possibly may be my husband. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss the rest of this testimony. God is going to shift you and move you right where you need to be. So we'll be right back.
You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Welcome to Creation Minute. I'm Eric Hovind. Was there really a worldwide flood 4,400 years ago? Skeptics claim it's all a myth. However, there's overwhelming evidence that indicates the flood really occurred. More than 270 cultures around our world have a legend of the flood. Geologists find massive erosion features all over the world. Coal seams span the entire globe, some of them hundreds of feet thick. On top of Mount Everest, they even find clams. Now, when a clam dies, it relaxes and opens up. These are found in the closed position, 450 miles from the beach, and 5.5 miles above sea level. So was there really a worldwide flood? The evidence says yes. Why don't you let us know what you think at creationminute.com.
We're back, and I'm telling you, I'm just listening to how this woman of God was led by God to walk in love in spite of. That's not an easy task to do. It's really not an easy task to do when you have to love beyond where you are, because a part of you was still bleeding. Your husband has infidelity, and it's possibly he may have fathered a child while you all was still married. You go to the woman to say, hey, listen, let's just find out, because this child, if my husband is a father, really needs to have him in his life. Okay, so what's next? What do you do next that wows us?
Well, what's next was when he came to me with it, and he was like, I believe it is. So we went and I orchestrated the blood test.
You did?
I did.
Jesus.
I orchestrated the blood test and came back. He was the father.
Wow.
I cried. I cried and I cried.
Did you believe before the blood test that this baby was his?
I did.
You had that gut feeling?
I did. And so I prayed to God. I was like, God, if this is his child, just prepare me for it. I don't want to shun him. I don't want to allow him to neglect the child. I don't want to be that bitter wife, like, you can't see the baby. I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
Just help me to deal with this situation, So when it came back, the baby was his, I was like, okay, so what's next, And so we started thinking of plans and things like that, and just went from there. And so I had an in-the-room experience, and that experience at church, I really fought with the enemy. and I fought because I wanted to get to that place of bitterness,
Yeah.
the place of vengefulness.
But you couldn't.
I couldn't because I knew her. You know, and it hurt so bad because I had known her, and I'm like, you know.
Was she a friend, somebody that you both knew?
She was somebody that we both knew. We both knew her, and I seen her a lot of times around town, and it was always, hey, how you know, and it
Yeah.
was just that, you know, and even now it's still, hey, how you? 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't have anything against her.
That's
you know?
amazing.
I mean, why? Why? Because, you know, the Bible, like God always reminded me that the wrestle is not with flesh and blood.
Right.
It's with spiritual wickedness in high
Yes,
places.
ma'am.
And when I understood that concept, that was the most freeing concept I've ever grasped in my life, like the most freeing scripture, because I know how to deal with you. When you know who you fight differently.
Right,
Right.
right.
So I knew how to deal with the situation. It was the enemy. I knew it was because he hates unity.
Amen.
You know, he hates togetherness.
Yes.
And I knew that. So that's why I decided to fight again for my husband, because
Wow.
I knew that my husband was my husband.
Yeah.
God placed us together. We had 2 beautiful sons together, you know, and I just knew that, okay, Latiana, put your gloves on. It's time to go to war.
Warfare.
War.
Right.
Yes. And so that's what happened. And then the infidelity issue happened again. And around this time, my husband was dealing with so much. I didn't show him affection. I was ignoring him. I respected him publicly, but, you know, behind closed
home.
doors, I did. It was nothing, you know, and
Wow.
it was just, I X'd him out of my life, basically, you know, and we were roommates again, you know, so he stepped out again, and this time he was a little more bold. It was in my face.
Jesus. What did he
Yes.
do this time?
He had another lady friend, and I knew her. I knew her like a long time, longer than the other girl, you
Oh,
know.
my.
And so she would come pick him up from my house,
Oh, my.
and he would leave and go with her
Disrespectful.
and stay with her for weeks at a time and come back home. And while he's back at home, I'm saying, are we gonna work this out or not? Are we gonna do this? You know, I'm still at this place because I know the enemy is really here. He's really attacking. He's attacking, and he is really trying to break this fort that we have.
You still believe in God?
I still believe at the end of the I had to.
Yeah.
You know, because there was no other choice. Either I was gonna lose myself. At one point I was mad at God. I was like, why are you allowing me to go through this? Like, I shouldn't go through this.
Yeah.
I'm saved. I thought I shouldn't, you know.
Yeah.
And so it had gotten so bad to where my husband just was like, yeah, I don't want it anymore. You know. When I heard that, I had gotten so weak to where I was literally begging him,
Jesus.
you know, and I'll say something like, well, after you go stay with her, come back home and stay with me. I was
Yeah.
allowing this.
Yeah.
Now, I was allowing this to happen, you know. And
Your self-worth.
yes,
Your
I
self-esteem. It's almost like he had torn you down.
tore
Yeah.
it all. And, you know, God spoke to me in my house, and he was like, where is my daughter? Where is she? You know, and I had to grasp myself. I had to, you know,
Wake up.
but yes,
Get up.
literally wake up. I
Yeah.
had 2 kids. I was like, nope, I will not go down like this. I will not be like this.
Yeah.
I will not be bitter. I will not be broken. You will not tear me. So I
Right.
was like, okay, let's do this. You want to fight devil? Let's go.
Right.
So I said, I'm getting my kids and we're gone.
Right.
I left my job. I left. I gave away everything in my house but a bed. I sold it for $75. I
Wow.
left everything behind. I moved to Jackson with $74.
Wow. That's
and 2
faith.
kids.
And 2 kids.
And 2 kids. That was it. And I prayed to God. And at first my prayer was, Lord, if it's meant to be, let it happen, you know, all that. But God was like, no, what about you? What do you want me to do for you, for Latiana, to get Latiana back to where Latiana needs to be? And so I began to change my prayer. I was like, God, you know, whether I'm with my husband or not, I want to be okay. I
Yes.
want to be forgiven. I want to have a heart like yours.
Yeah.
You know, I want to love. I want to show unconditional love to whomever,
Yeah.
whenever, however, you know.
Right.
And so I was like, God, just work on him, even if he is just the father of my kids. Just allow him to just be who he needs to be, that you have called him to be. Allow him to be that, you know. And he came back. I allowed him to come back. We were separated for like almost 6 months.
Wow.
And when my husband came back, it was like a different stature. Because I told God, and I told my husband, I said, I'm not taking you back unless you better.
Yeah.
Other than that,
It's not happening.
No.
Let's
that's
go
it.
back. When you left, did he try to contact you, get
He
you
did.
back, reach out to you?
He did.
What happened during that process? Because I think that probably was an eye opener. Like, does he really
Yeah.
care? Does he want this? You know?
He cared. He wanted it. But I ignored him for 3 weeks to a month. Like nothing, no phone call, no text, no whatever. As a matter of fact, my phone broke.
Yeah.
I think that was God because I
He
was
has a
going
way.
back and forth, with him. We were still arguing, still bickering, whatever, and my phone broke. And I only had $74. That was probably gone by that time.
Yeah.
So I had no way to get it fixed. So
Jesus,
that was it.
God
It was
knows
nothing.
how to shut it down,
He
close
shut
it up,
down.
break
Yes,
it down.
He shut that down.
Wow.
All the way down. And so when I decided to let my husband come back, I was still like, hold on, are you gonna trick me again?
Yeah.
And God is like, I got it, Latiana, I got you.
Yeah.
So I let God be God.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, God, we on this wave again. I trust you. My hands are off. This is all you.
Yeah.
So ever since then, my husband's been so great, so
Yeah.
awesome. He prays and he says, let's fast. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's just like, he wants more out of life. He wants more out of God.
Yeah.
He wants more for our kids. And it's almost unbelievable to know, but God can literally do anything.
So you've seen the transformation.
I literally
You know
watched
that
him
God
from-
can do it.
He can do anything.
Wow, but fail.
But fail. There's something he can't, won't ever do.
Jesus, I love it. I love
Yes,
it.
he can do
So
anything.
now you see your prayers have come to the manifestation. But the thing that you had to do, you had to hold on in the midst of, I'm sure people were talking about you.
Oh, yes. Yes.
The whispers.
Yes.
But you had to gird up, put on the
Yes.
full armor of God, and keep
Yes.
going and just trusting and believing what God said about you
Yes.
and your husband. I love how you said, I know who I'm fighting against. Because you could have went and cut, sliced up, went after the women, and
That's
you never
right.
did.
Never did. Never will. Never will. Because it's so much bigger than a woman.
So the women
much
that are
bigger than
watching you right now, share with them this very moment, looking into this camera, why it's not worth it to even approach the other woman. That it's better to be in that position, posture of prayer, and let the enemy know you won't have mine. Jesus.
Well, ladies, approaching the other woman is never a good idea because, number one, it challenges your character.
Yes.
It challenges who you are in God. It challenges who you are as a Christian woman.
Yes.
And because you know that the fight is not with the flesh and blood, the fight is with the spiritual weakness in high places, you have to go into the other realm of
Yes.
spiritualness to fight that thing. Fighting with the woman, at the end of the day, she can come back and take your man again. That's how I look at it. No matter, she could be in the hospital with a bloody nose or whatever, she can come right back and do it again. So why? And as a matter of fact, pray for her because she's dealing with something. She's dealing with something. She may have been raped or whatever as a child. She's dealing with something too.
Yes.
And so even I reached out to.
I was going to ask you
Yeah.
that. Did you pray for them? Did you, were you,
Yes.
not
Yes.
only were you praying to save your marriage, but were you praying for the women as well? Wow.
Yes, I had to because we're women,
Yeah.
and a lot of us deal with a lot of things behind closed doors.
Yeah.
A lot of things that we don't talk about, and so we express it in different ways.
Yeah.
Whether it's with somebody else's man, we probably want to feel secure again, or you probably want to feel like I'm a woman, I can do what I want to do, whatever.
Yeah.
So you get somebody else's husband or something. I mean, anything. It could
Yeah.
be anything. And so I just pray that God will cover those women. I pray that God will release them and heal them from whatever it is that they're dealing with.
Yes.
And I just pray that God will just shelter them in his arms, just love on them because they need love.
Yeah.
They can't get it from other women's husbands, but
Right.
they need love.
Right.
They definitely need love. And as Christians, it's our job to show them.
And you actually reached out to one of them, right? Right.
I did. I reached out to one of them.
What was
and
her response?
She was saying that she was embarrassed. She was ashamed. She didn't know how to tell me, but she appreciates the Christian that I am, and she
Yeah.
appreciates the woman that I am. And I just told her, no, it's God.
Yeah.
It's literally God, and you should,
Wow.
come over with me.
Oh, I love this. I love this. This is ministry one-on-one
Yes.
all day, every day. It's better to lead, to show the love. Many times we get in our flesh, but listening to your testimony, you was like, devil, you won't get no glory today. Not today. I'm coming after you with my gloves on, everything, letting you know that you're not going to take my family. You're not going to take my husband. You gave him to me, so I'm coming after you. Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Yes. That's what it
Wow.
was.
How is life now?
Beautiful, so beautiful. I mean, it's like starting over in a different world.
Yeah.
Almost. He's perfect. He listens to me. He calls me all day. Now sometimes I'm like, now look, Sean.
Yeah.
You need to.
Yeah. But that's what you
I love
prayed
it.
for.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love him to like I love him to life.
Yeah.
I love him so much, and I'm glad that he allowed God to do what he needs to do with him.
Yeah.
Instead of shunning him, you know. So I'm just glad he was willing.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he came back.
Wow.
Honestly.
The greatest challenge through all of that, what would you sum it up to be? Through the process of the infidelity, the child that was born, you know, by another woman, him just saying, I want out. What was the greatest challenge for you as a woman?
Forgiving.
Forgiving.
Forgiving was definitely the greatest challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if I can forgive, I can love, you know, I can still tolerate, I can still, you know, converse, I can still communicate with people, but forgiving, that was tough.
Yeah.
That was so tough, but it's so freeing.
Yeah.
It is so freeing. It's so freeing mentally because I literally almost lost my mind.
Wow.
Literally, but it's so freeing.
Wow.
It gives you that power back.
Were you playing things in your mind? Things that weren't really happening? Yeah.
Yeah, I became really delusional. Yes.
If he wasn't with you, you thought he was with another woman.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, it did. It was like that. And it really tore my trust. You know, and even now, you know, I still have moments where I'm just like, okay, God, just don't let me go back to that place mentally. Help me to be who I need to be as a wife. Because although he messed up, I still have to be who I need to be.
For your children's sake.
Yeah, and for my
you.
children. Yeah, I
Right.
can't treat him like he just still doing, or I can't treat him like, well, you did this to me. You know,
Right.
as a woman, as a wife, we still have an assignment.
Right.
That's placed in our lives by God. So we can't negate that assignment because of what our husbands do.
Right.
We still have to be that wife.
And you still have to be the Christian.
Still have to be.
You know, I love how I heard an older lady say this, even when they do wrong, baby, just act like you don't even know. It hurts them the most when they know that you know, but you don't say anything, versus when you saying something, but just let them know that, oh, I know, but I'm going to let God deal with
Exactly.
you. You know, and I have adapted that, oh, I'm going to let God deal with you. He can get you far better than I can.
Exactly.
You know, so it's just remarkable how your story is just uplifting and inspiring. And I'm telling you, I just pray that God just really blesses your socks off beyond measure, because
God.
only God can do what he did through you. The unforgiveness, honey, you transformed that. I'm not unforgiving. I'm going to forgive you. I'm going to love you. That's just amazing.
In spite of
Any words that you would like to say to any woman who may be experiencing adultery right now and they know about it, or they haven't confronted their spouse, or it could be vice versa. The man may have found out that his wife may be committed, because it happens sometimes, and they feel like, you know what, I don't have any place to go. What would you say to them right now?
I would say accept it, admit it, don't be embarrassed,
Yeah.
don't be ashamed, get up, put your gloves on and fight.
Yes.
Fight.
Yes.
That's what I can say. Pray. One of my former pastors say, put God on them.
Yes. Oh, I love
That's it. Put God on, literally. Put God
Amen.
on. Just pray. It works.
Amen. That's
It
a word
works.
for somebody right there. Thank you so very much.
Thank
Always been a
you.
pleasure,
Yes,
a pleasure.
ma'am.
Godspeed blessings to you. Put God on them. Step out of the way, get out of the way, move, and let God be God. One thing I know, that the Holy Ghost will arrest you. He'll wake you up and you have to go bless somebody. He'll have you to go beg pardon, as my grandmother would say. Let God do it. Get out of the way. Even if you know, act like you don't. Cook him a good Sunday dinner, honey. Put on your best and say, come on, baby, let's go. I guarantee you, with love, you draw them. But more importantly, they will get convicted, and they will begin to straighten up, because God has them. I love you. God bless you. And I'll see you next time on The Tammy Tubbs Show. Until then, be blessed.
You're watching the Christian Television Network, proclaiming the most powerful name of all.
On mountains, I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders.